Ted, he was the life of the party. Ted never had a bad day. He was always up and happy. If it was raining out, he'd say, man, we needed water. If it was 100 degrees out, he'd say we needed heat. Ted was real positive. Ted knew how to deal with pressure, and you would never know he was even dealing with pressure. He could be riding for a road title, and you think he was at Disneyland getting on the next ride. He was just always easy going. Nothing really got to Ted. You never seen Ted throughout my whole career. I can never say I've seen Ted where he was having a bad moment. He could have just bucked off of one. It's just part of it. Nothing got to Ted Nuce. Ted was always upbeat. I remember he used to tell me stories about him and Charles Sampson. He'd say, when we show up, it's like two dump trucks showing up. I'd be like, what do you mean, Ted? Two dump trucks. He said, every time we show up, we get loaded. He said, we win. They load us up with money. But that was his character. He's always fun to be around. I remember it was right here in Oakdale. It was slack, 8 o'clock in the morning. That was when they had, 80 bull riders here entered. And it was pouring down rain. And I believe Ted was retired by then. And I remember him walking down the chutes, and he must have been looking at a program or something. He saw my name. He was like, Myron's still entering? And I was sitting on the fence, and I said, yeah, Ted, I'm right here. And he looked up to me. He said, what are you doing still entering the bull riding? You're old. You need to be retired. And I said, Ted, I love riding bulls. And he went on and said, this is kind of a heart-to-heart, and it always stayed with me to this very day. And he told me, he said, Myron, whatever you do, if you treat life the same way you treated bull riding, you put 110% into it, you'll be successful in no matter what you do. He said, so you don't have to be afraid of stepping away from rodeo to start anything, a company or whatever you want to do, as long as you put that kind of effort into it. And those words always stayed with me to this very day. When he talked, you listen, because there's meaning behind it.
Well, my real name is Jim Bell, but everybody in here and in Oakdale recognized me by Ding Dong. Hopefully it goes because of my last name's Bell. I met Ted first time when he was just a kid trying to learn how to ride bulls out at a place called Oscar Herd's out of Turlock there. Oscar had some bulls out there, and I can't remember if it was Friday night or Saturday night. They ride bulls out there, and he'd come out from Manteca, and he was just a little kid then, 14, 15 years old, and trying to learn how to ride bulls. That's where I first met him. And then, after a few years, we become friends when he was in his 20s, and was just a good man. He done what he said, and he said what he done, He world champion bull rider, 14 times in a row he went to the national finals. And that was a record. I think it still is. I don't know. There's guys that's been there more often, but not 14 years in a row. He's in the National Cowboy Hall of Fame up there in Colorado. Colorado Springs, I guess it is, where he's at. I don't know. But he's in there with Gerald and Aceberry and a bunch of other fellas from Oakdale here.
Well, when you look back, Ted won the row once and probably should have won more than once. I believe he was the reserve champ 4 other times. You don't just stumble on being at the NFR, let alone being the reserve champ or even the road champion for that matter. And Ted's career was long. If I'm not mistaken, he might be the guy that's been to NFR more times than anybody else in the bull riding. So not only he rode good, but his longevity, his toughness was there. You don't stay in that sport that long at that high level. It's pretty phenomenal. For me, when I look at Ted, I see Lane Frost, a lot of them. I was fortunate enough to meet Lane in Hawaii, but that era of bull riders, Tough, Lane, and Ted, that's like kind of the last of the dying breed. That era right there, those guys had a lot of grit. I mean, wouldn't be nothing one of them hanging on the side of for 5 seconds to make the whistle. You know, I don't see that grit like that nowadays. You know, like, I mean, them guys, they're just a different breed. They're tough like nails. I mean, they were earnest or gritty, and Ted was probably one of the leaders of them. You know,
When he was about 15, I think, maybe, huh? Or 14? 14. He was just a little kid from Manteca, and Bill Lynn, man's son, had that bull riding over here in Oakdale, and he shows up one day, and he looked like he might have had a younger brother because his shirt was so tight on him, and his arms. Yeah, okay. Not loosen up and close up a little bit or there, you know. So he comes in, and we had one little bull there, little orange bull, that he said, "I'm going to get him now." Okay, get on him. And we help him, and he bucks around there. Okay, I'll be back next week. And he come back next week. Which one you want to do this week? I'll take that orange one again. There again.
He got on the same bull every week. He called him Mold Jade because it was orange. And my dad would bring it up for him. And I finally went, yes, that's it. You're getting on a horn bull. This bull's got horn. And he was, no, I ain't doing it. And I was, you're getting, and I was kind of trying to force him. Bill, Randy's picking on me. Leave him alone, Randy. He's going to be a good bull rider someday. Now here's me. He'll never amount to nothing. Next thing I know, a bull that bucked me off, he wins jackpot on. I'm standing there. Oh boy, I look stupid now. Next thing I know, he rides one of our best bulls, and I mean just kicks the lion out of the poncho.
Yeah. And then if you didn't hit the ground or running, you weren't good.
And he wins the bull riding on that. Next thing I know, I look in the sports news, and he rides at Savage 7 of Steiner's, which was the bucking bull of the year. And from there, he just went.
Yeah.
He just went.
It just went in there. It's easy. This is easy. How did that kid, get this quick, and he just started getting better and better every time. I think he made finals his first year. He just got that dub. But he was always fun to be around,
I met Ted Nuce in 1981. He's from California. I'm from California. I was rodeoing by myself, found out he was rodeoing by himself. And we decided to pair up in 1981. And fortunately for Ted, I got to see him win this rodeo in 1981. Cody Night Rodeo. He's a loving Christian man. Loved the sport of rodeo. Just love traveling, love people. Been a great friend to me for over 40 years. I had a chance to travel with him in 81. He watched me win the World Championship in 82. I got to see him win the championship in 85. And what more can I say? To see one of the greatest bull riders of all time accomplish so much in the sport of rodeo, and to know that he's a good friend of mine. He's a loving family man. Love his wife Stephanie. Love his two boys, Wyatt and Weston. He just loved life, man. What a energetic, man that loved the Lord and loved the sport of rodeo. I was able to travel with this guy up and down the road. Good days, bad days. All I know is God just led him to be the best person he can be. Love you, Ted.